what I think I'd like to understand is like, if I'm a organisation that uses your service, CQC come to me and say, we want this piece of information. You talked about your analytics tool that helps kind of people to get. Is there, you've got some examples you can articulate of like what type of evidence that would look like?
Yeah, good question. I guess, so a big one for us is our email charts, right? So we want to make sure that we're like all of our agencies are documenting everything to do with medication for all of their clients. And so we have, in part of the Verdi Analytics, we have a thing called the Q score, which is like a kind of built out report. And within that section, there's a medication section. And so if I'm a care agency, rather than going through my 200 clients kind of EMAR charts, so in case the CQC come around and need to make sure that I've got all those documented, the Q score will then show you anybody that's kind of missing certain data points. So out of those 200, it might be suddenly 15 that have got missing data points. I go, oh great, and it's cut down my time by 100-fold, and it means I just go through those 15 and make sure that those are up to date, and then refresh the Q score. So using that kind of tooling to make sure that if the CQC was to come around, I've got evidence of everything that I've done, making sure that all of my system and software is up to date. It's just really important to be able to cut down time for our partners as much as possible, because ultimately you want them to be providing care, Are
you still finding there's people in the market that don't have digital planning systems at the moment? So you talked about medication planning there. Yeah, it's a big part of it. I can't imagine that there's many, but I guess there is still some people that aren't. I mean, I've heard of care homes that are still doing, say, like staff rotas on like bits of paper. Yeah. And I'm like, sorry, what? Sorry, what? Doesn't make sense.
It's definitely the care industry, whether it's care agencies, care home, it has to be disrupted by tech. And I think we've seen a change. I've been at Verdi for 2 years, and I've already seen a huge change in what everybody's the game of software is really being stepped up. And I think it's important that if you're Joe Blogs on the street and you've got an iPhone, why are we not giving that kind of technology to the care industry? It's really important that these carers are not looking at paper, are not trying to find out where they should be going. They've got everything in one place on an app, and they go, great, okay, I've got this visit, I know exactly what I'm doing, I'm paperless. I think enabling them to cut down time that would otherwise be spent on paper or manual systems is super, super important.
Is there any kind of key data points that you're seeing that your clients are reporting back to you that CQC really like? I really like to know your absent rate, or so, I don't know. Is there a piece of data that gets talked about regularly over and over again by your clients or by your team that people really use and seems to be a really valuable piece of information?
Definitely. I think our care management side of Verdi, it was the first product that we developed, so it's been around for the longest. We've been going for 7 years now, 7-ish years. And the care management, the fact that we've got the NHS database, so if you're looking for a medication, maybe you're not, English isn't your first language, you could start typing and our system will tell you all of the different medications with the dosages that it might come up with, so you're not doing kind of mistypes. Medication is such an important part of care. If you get that wrong, you could lead to a client death or anything, horrendous stuff. So making sure that the medication is top tier level, I think the CQC really like to see that from a provider.
And is that the error rate, or is that just because I guess that's a negative measure, right? It's probably in most cases 99.7% correct, but is that an error rate a thing, or is it more of a just globally to see that there's a system in place which allows people to do it and minimise the risk when they do it?
Yeah, I think it's all about minimising risk as much as possible. I mean, getting rid of any risk is ultimately the goal, and I think that's something that every software provider is working towards. It's all about the kind of nuances that different care agencies use as well, but I think minimising risk to the nth degree is as close as you can get to perfect, really. So yeah, we should be 100% compliant with the CQC, what they rule out in terms of medication and things like that, definitely.
Cool. Do you want to tell me a bit about kind of what Verdi actually does, who it's for?
Yeah, so Verdi is predominantly for domiciliary care. So we've got a focus on keeping the ageing population out of hospitals, out of care homes and into their own home to enable them to have care at home. So we built a software. It does care management, finance, rostering, and then we have the analytics tool as well. There's an app for the carers, so they know exactly what they're doing and when. And there's also a family and friends app, so they can see, if they go on holiday, they can see, oh, I know that mum and dad are okay because they've had their breakfast, they've had their medication, I can track that from the app from themselves. So we're trying to encapsulate a lot into one system.
Are you seeing lots of family members using the app? Is it popular?
The feedback from the carers and from the family is astronomical. A lot of the people that work at Birdie have got a personal story as to why they want to be part of the change in the care industry. And when I had to care for my grandma for a few weeks and I was writing a Word document and documenting, and I was thinking, Birdie didn't exist at that point, but I was thinking, why is there not a system that I can use, that I can hand over to my mum or to the carers, that I know there's a continuation of everything that I've done in the care that's happened. So to see that happening now at Birdie, to be able to check in, I think it's incredible. It's really, really cool.
Slightly off topic, what was your favourite thing to do when you were looking after your grandma? What was her favourite activity? What's your favourite thing? So I'm thinking about specifically like home carers. They go and see people lots of times. What's something fun, interesting, that was engaging for your grandma?
My grandma loved to do her coffee mornings with her friends, so I'd like to help her walk down to her little cafe. Everybody knew who she was, and she'd have like coffee mornings with her friends and just get to catch up. I think having that social time is really important as well. So being able to live independently, but also be able to go see people that they want to see, which you wouldn't necessarily get in a care home kind of system. So I think having that kind of independence for her was really important.
Sweet, yeah, lovely. Okay, well, thank you very much. Is there anything else you want to cover? Any other points you want to get out?
I guess just to talk about Flock very quickly. So what we've kind of created at Flock as part of the marketing team is basically a social media for everybody that works in the care industry. It's not just for domiciliary care. It's a forum where everybody can kind of get together and ask questions. So you've got a CQC inspection coming up, you want to ask a question, you've got other care agencies that will help you through it. Perhaps you're just starting out and you want to start up your own agency. Join Flock and then you can have your questions answered by people in the community.
I guess your tool might also be a really good way to collect feedback from families, so the Birdie tool specifically, because that's an important part of the inspection process for CQC, isn't it?
Definitely. We're keeping Flock quite separate, so it's just a forum for community, like it's not a Birdie specific part, but in terms of feedback that we get specifically from family, from agencies, we work very collaboratively with our agencies, which is why I think we've done so well today, because they're the ones in the trenches every day doing it. They know what they need best, so we're trying to make sure we incorporate all of that into our products.
I've been on Flock and I know there's a section about CQC, and if you've got there's a load of people on there. I think you're up to sort of 600 or 700 members now who will contribute if you say, oh, I've got this specific issue, and it's in a bit more of a controlled, safe way. I think I always, I'm a member of a few different like Facebook groups, and I always feel a bit uncomfortable because you kind of don't know who's in it and stuff like that. And I think actually this is hopefully a bit more of a safe space. Yeah.
Kind of like coming to one of these care shows, but online, which is so nice. It's like we come here, we chat to everybody, we have a great time, and it's kind of a continuation of that, but in a kind of social media platform, which is cool.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.